Now look, I know Spirit was a total lolcow of a company. I mean, it was a complete disaster. And it's funny to sit there and point and laugh and go, haha, you guys shut down. You were such a clusterfuck of a company that you guys shot yourself in the foot and then died from that wound. And I don't blame you. I mean, a part of you's gotta feel good. Everybody has flew Spirit before and nobody has had a positive experience, but this isn't good. Now, in case you live under a rock, Spirit Airlines shut down at like 1 a.m. the other day. Now, Spirit was notorious for being the cheapest airline out there. However, it was a complete clusterfuck of a company. They would practice surge pricing with your bags. The people working for them were probably some of the worst human beings I've ever had the displeasure of coming in contact with in my whole life. It was small, it was uncomfortable. There was a charge for literally everything. Anytime something remotely negative happened on an airline, you bet your ass it was Spirit, but it was the cheapest option out there, and in the whole time they existed, all 24 years, not a single casualty. So obviously you would take the good with the bad. But the reason it shut down is actually relatively interesting. So they were already on the downslope. They filed for bankruptcy twice in 2024, and the reason being because you had to deal with all the negative stuff of flying on Spirit Airlines, and it wasn't actually that much cheaper if you would just fly on Delta, United, Southwest. And that being because Delta might charge you a ticket for $200, whereas Spirit would charge you $90 for the same ticket, but then they would charge you $80 to check a bag. So then most people started catching on to that and going, oh, so I'm gonna pay an extra $20 per person to not have a horrible experience while flying. Yeah, we're gonna go with Delta. Which, fair enough, it was no longer the cheapest option anymore. It was pretty much only for people who were going from point A to point B with nothing bigger than a backpack. So as I said, they filed for bankruptcy twice. The most recent time they filed for bankruptcy, they cleared a lot of their debt because that's what filing does. So then Spirit reworked the deal with their creditors, and basically without getting into the whole ins and outs of the deals, they were allowed to keep flying, which is basic practice for an airline that's this big and facing financial troubles. What is not basic practice, however, is the Iranian war starting. And that happened 3 days after they reached a deal with their creditors. So instantly after the war started, jet fuel prices go to an all-time high, and high jet fuel prices hit budget carriers a lot harder than, let's say, Qatar Airlines, because a budget carrier doesn't have anything to fall back on, where if you take Qatar Airlines, for example, they have the royalty rewards, super, I'm rich, go fuck yourself, pay $20,000 for a first-class cabin Casey Neistat rewards program that they can fall back on. They're fine. So then Spirit goes to the natural next step, which is a government bailout. And look, we've all seen the video of that one congressman absolutely shredding Spirit Airlines. But massive airlines like this, I mean, they always prevail with a bailout, right? It's happened so many, holy shit, many fucking times. There's no way they don't get bailed out. They didn't get bailed out. I mean, somebody must have a serious fucking problem with Spirit Airlines if they didn't get a government bailout. A government bailout for a massive airliner is like Ubisoft putting together a bullshit open world cash grab every year. It's almost guaranteed to happen, but it didn't. So they were forced to stop flying immediately. Like, they literally just came out and said, yeah, all right, sorry guys, we're done, we're closing down. I mean, seriously, the last time we saw this happen was Midway Airlines, and that was because of 9/11. But regardless, now I'm going to tell you why this is really, really bad for everybody. If you've been living in the United States for the last 5 years, you know that everything is ridiculously unaffordable. This isn't some big shock. But now what's going to happen is it's not just like, oh, well, Spirit shut down, so now there's no affordable options for the solo traveler. Now there's no affordable options for somebody who really doesn't have that extra $40, $50, $60 to spare when they're going to travel somewhere for the holidays. That's not how this is going to work. So now I'm going to pull up a 2016 study. I would put it in the description if I thought you guys gave a fuck, but I know you don't and nobody would read it. so I'm not going to do that. But a 2016 study found that a Houston to Kansas City route served only by United Airlines averaged $300 a ticket, until Spirit entered the market in 2014 and offered fares around $90, forcing United to drop its average fare to $180. That happened over and over across the country. So that's just your kind of baseline. And sure, maybe within the last 5 years, you would see something closer to, yeah, Spirit is charging $90 and their carry-on fee is going to be $70. So that's $160, and United is charging $190. So it wasn't as big of a gap as you thought. But what Spirit did is it forced them to come down to that $180 price point, regardless of how much Spirit is charging for their carry-on bags. Because the difference between $30-40 for more comfort, some people would pay it, some people wouldn't. The difference between $120 for comfort, not a lot of people are going to pay that. So, do you honestly think in your heart of hearts that said ticket in this hypothetical would stay at $180 now that Spirit is gone? The answer is, yeah, dude, for sure. It'll definitely stay the same. Would you like to take a hit of this crack I'm smoking? No, but seriously. And I don't think that it would go back up to $300. What I think's going to happen is I think they're gonna go, here at 00 Airways, we do things a little differently. We believe that whoever the passenger, big or small, deserves the best in-flight experience in the nation. And whether that's because of our revamped cabins that add an extra 2 inches of legroom per seat, or our 3 free complimentary adult beverages, or our free of charge check and carry-on bags, you know that 00 Airways always have you covered. 00 Airways, don't just enjoy the sky, own it. Fuck. And all of the airlines are going to do this. There's going to be nobody to force them to, we're going to have to offer a bare bones package for around the same price as Spirit. No, they're all going to go up. Nobody's going to try to be competitive and outsell. Yeah, so of course, not only in our hypothetical would tickets go back up to $300, they would go even more because they would try to upsell you more. Now, unless somebody comes along or somebody offers still a bare bones package, now these airliners still could offer a bare bones package, but it's going to be a bare bones package instead of $90 plus $70 for a checked bag or a carry-on. It's going to be something closer to $200 plus $40 for a checked or a carry-on. And that's if they do that at all. I still think they're going to make affordable flying a thing of the past. I still think they're going to go full force with the, everything included. And now it's actually going to even be more expensive than it was before Spirit came in the market because nobody's threatening us anymore. Now, I even pondered with the idea of, what if Ryanair? And Ryanair is an Irish plane company. They fucking hate their customers. They make you stand on the flights, and they're by far the cheapest. I was thinking, what if they would come over because they would see an opening for Spirit and say, hey, we could expand. But there would be no real window for that. The same way the United States protects their airliners, the UN does the same. So I just don't think that Ryanair would ever have an opening to get into the States. And also, not for nothing, flying from France to Belgium is a lot different than flying from Florida to Los Angeles or Washington. So my advice would be either start picking up overtime shifts, turn to a life of crime, maybe being a fraudster, joking, of course, don't do that, or get ready to spend, no, I was actually about to say get ready to enjoy being in a car, but gas prices are $5, so doesn't matter. Maybe just don't travel. Sitting in your house is fun. You know what? How about you get a VR headset? And I know you can't afford it because nobody can afford anything right now. So you can use Klarna to pay for it. And then you can virtually travel right from the comfort of your own home for a low price of $20 a month. Now, of course, you're going to be paying it off for 3 years, and instead of paying $500, you're going to be paying, $1,200. But that's okay, because you love to travel. I think we've completely lost the plot, and I think it's time for me to go to bed. Have a great day, guys.